All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Because if you've ever felt completely burnt out by the whole daily grind, well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're unpacking a classic text that honestly completely flips our modern understanding of wealth, stress, and success right on its head. It introduces the sheer power of awareness, especially for beginners, in a really simple, easy-to-understand way. And it offers a massive paradigm shift. The source material kicks things off by calling out our daily habits. I mean, think about it. What if the absolute most powerful energy in the universe isn't sitting in a bank account somewhere, but is actually already inside you? The text suggests that our endless pursuit of material stuff, gold, silver, social status, is really just an illusion that leaves us totally exhausted. What worldly people see as the ultimate prize, the enlightened actually see as completely empty. Instead, they point us toward an inner energy that is way more powerful and permanent. To make sense of this profound text, we're going to structure this explainer as a day in the life. Our agenda covers 6 parts. 1. The ultimate inner treasure. 2. Setting your daily direction. 3. Transforming stress and anger. 4. The art of selfless giving. 5. Turning suffering into wisdom. And finally, 6. Evening reflection and dedication. Part 1. The ultimate inner treasure. Let's see how this concept builds the absolute foundation for our entire day. There is a really stark contrast here. On one hand, worldly wealth is kind of like a heavy anchor. The text reminds us that material things eventually degrade, and they literally tie us down to an endless cycle of stress and suffering. But, on the other hand, true awareness is presented as this imperishable mind energy that frees us completely from those lower realms. The source uses these simple metaphors to show exactly why this inner awareness vastly surpasses any amount of worldly wealth you could ever accumulate. The text specifically names this true treasure as Bodhicitta. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand that Bodhicitta isn't just, a fleeting good mood because you had a great cup of coffee or a passing nice thought. The author defines it as the highest mental energy in the universe. It's a powerful, sustained vow to benefit all beings. It basically acts as a literal ship to rescue us from the chaotic sea of suffering and worldly desires. And this brilliantly distills the core pivot we need to make. Quote, "If it's for me, it's delusion. If it's for others, it's awakening." The source states it so clearly. If a thought or an action is just for yourself, you are lost in delusion. But if it's for the benefit of others, you are stepping into true awakening. It's all about shifting that mindset from self-centered stress to true altruistic power. Part 2. Setting your daily direction. The real question is, how do we actually apply this philosophy practically, right from the very minute we wake up? The text outlines a highly structured daily flow, because let's face it, the human mind is so easily distracted by changing circumstances, like sitting in terrible traffic or getting a bad email. So this structure ensures our awareness doesn't just evaporate, it turns it into an active, continuous practice from morning until night. And it all starts in the morning. Before you even reach for your phone to doom scroll, the text advises sitting quietly to set a firm direction. By reciting this simple vow right out of bed, "May all my actions and words today be the cause for all beings awakening," you anchor your mind. You're essentially pre-programming your day. So before the daily chaos even begins, your inner compass is firmly set toward altruism. Which brings us to part 3, transforming stress and anger. Because of course, the real world quickly tests us, right? We all hit that midday grind and the inevitable frustrations that pop up. This source emphasizes something incredibly empowering for beginners here. You do not need to retreat to a quiet mountain cave to practice this. Your daily life is the dojo. When you're dealing with family, you practice gratitude and tolerance. At work, you use a mindset of helping others to completely transform your stress and pressure. Even physical illness becomes a helpful reminder of impermanence. And good fortune? Well, that's viewed simply as a test of your humility, not the finish line. But what do you do when a coworker just really gets under your skin? The text provides this highly practical 3-step technique. Stop, ask, shift. First, stop your words and thoughts immediately. Break the circuit. Second, ask yourself, is this reaction for me or for the benefit of others? And third, shift from ego to altruism. Whenever you hit a stressful trigger, this method stops anger dead in its tracks, making sure you don't lose your morning motivation. Part 4, the art of selfless giving. Let's see what happens when we start interacting with others from this new, grounded, altruistic state. A major theme in the source material is unattached giving. This is the practice of helping others purely for their benefit, which really helps beginners let go of attachment and the desire for reward. The text highlights that true virtue is found in giving without seeking fame, without attachment to the outcome, and without any expectation of a return favor. By doing this, we literally cut the chains of anxiety that come with wondering what we're going to get in return. It's pure, liberating action.
Part 5, Turning Suffering into Wisdom. Now, what happens when we face serious adversity? You know, the kind of deep suffering that simple deep breaths and positive thinking just cannot fix.
Adversity is a whetstone for the mind. I absolutely love this metaphor from the source material. It frames difficult people, painful situations, and obstacles not as punishments or bad luck, but as the exact tools needed to sharpen your awareness. Just like a dull blade needs a rough stone to become sharp, your mind actually requires adversity to develop true wisdom. This matrix directly maps out your perspective shifts right on the spot. If anger arises, the text advises us to see that the other person is also driven by their own suffering, so we replace that hate with compassion. If greed appears, we recognize the desired object is just a fleeting illusion. And if ignorance clouds our judgment, we recognize the situation lacks self-nature. This teaches us how to instantly transform our raw afflictions into sharp, protective wisdom the second they arise. Now, the author is highly realistic and acknowledges a fundamental problem. Holding on to this Bodhicitta mindset is incredibly difficult. Our human minds are constantly changing. We get easily distracted. So how do we protect this awareness from simply fading away? We need a really solid defense mechanism. To solve this, the text introduces the 3 protectors of awareness. First is the vow, which acts as the root, keeping your mind steady. Second is wisdom, acting as your shield against illusions so you don't get trapped. And third is compassion, the active engine keeping you moving forward. By cultivating both compassion and wisdom together, you create this unbreakable defense around your awareness, so it doesn't just evaporate by lunchtime. Part 6. Evening Reflection and Dedication. As our day finally comes to a close and we prepare for rest, we need to properly close out the mental loop. The text instructs that right before sleep, you should perform an evening dedication. You mentally gather any positive actions you performed that day and dedicate them to the awakening of others. But more importantly, this nightly check-in forces you to be brutally honest about whether your awareness regressed today. By vowing to recover quickly from your slip-ups, you ensure you always wake up the next morning with a clean slate. The source concludes with this powerful, poetic imagery. The ultimate goal of all these daily practices isn't just to have a good day, it's to cultivate a mind that never fades. It becomes a lamp of Bodhi, a light of true awareness that breaks through the long, dark night of human ignorance. Maintaining this inner treasure is presented as the absolute ultimate way out of life's endless cycle of suffering. So, it all comes down to a profound choice that dictates how we experience every single day. Will you wake up tomorrow to chase fleeting worldly illusions, or will you start cultivating the permanent treasure of your own awareness? The text leaves us with this incredible challenge, pushing us to decide who we truly want to be when the morning comes. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep those minds sharp, and I'll catch you on the next one.